Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 2, and we're back out here in the garage for another, I guess we're going to say, first impressions video, and we're going to talk about the B&T APC300 and some major issues that I have had with it. I need to give you some caveats about it and how it may affect the channel, and some behind the scenes stuff about that. And then number two, I want to talk about the impact of this week's elections to us as gun owners and the gun community in general. And I also want to apologize for not making more videos this week. I've just been super busy in my day job as a musician and teacher. In fact, I was playing with a symphony orchestra today for some children's concerts where they bring in elementary school kids and the orchestra plays for them and that kind of stuff. And then I came home and I literally just got done teaching a few lessons. And as soon as I get done making this video, I got to hop in the car and go to a rehearsal, which goes until 9:30 tonight. So it's just been nonstop. So I have like 45 minutes to make this video and upload it. But let's talk about the first impressions on the B&T APC300. And I do need to give a couple of caveats about this because I am a man of my word, okay? And I guess I'll kind of share with you guys some information is that I guess I'm going to say I have a special relationship with B&T, okay? And that relationship really only is that I know some people and they've worked with me in the past helping me get some stuff either fixed or whatever. I'm not on their payroll. I have never received anything free from them with the exception of a few posters, which I have here on the wall. I have one of them on the wall. I got the other three in the safe room. But I'm not in any way paid by them or I do anything special for them. Every B&T firearm that I personally own, I bought with my own money. And every B&T firearm that I have reviewed has been owned by somebody else that they bought with their own money. So none of this has ever been like a biased review where it was like given to you or anything like that. And if there ever was, I'd let you know in the review because I think that's really important. And I guess I could say I've tried to cultivate a relationship with them because I do have a little bit of bias for them because I love B&T. Okay, I don't care if I have problems with their stuff. Like I had problems with the APR 8.6. I still love B&T. I just love their guns. Okay, I like the way they look. I like the engineering behind them. It's just one of those things. You know, you can just like the color green or whatever, and you don't have to be able to qualify that. I just like B&T. Even when I have a problem with B&T, I still like B&T, okay? So I need to throw that one out there, too, as kind of a caveat. And so to admit I'm always kind of biased. Now, when I've had issues with B&T in the past, they have reached out to me, especially when it came to my main channel, and said, hey, we want to get this fixed. We want to make sure you get the right information out there. Like when I had a problem with my GHM9, which had a problem with like an underpowered round. You can find that video on my main channel. And they took it in for repair. They fixed it. They figured out what the problem was, and I made a follow-up video. I said, hey, this is what happened. And I've had a few other people post comments on that video, say, hey, the same thing happened to me. Thanks for posting this. I know what the problem is. I'm going to contact B&T, get it all fixed. And that's great. And then when I made the video here on this channel regarding my first impressions with the APR 8.6, between the trigger not always working, resetting, that kind of thing, and just the accuracy issues I had with it, they reached out to me, and I'm not going to use any names, okay? But somebody reached out to me that's been kind of like my, I guess I'll say like liaison between me and them. Reached out and said, hey, we would appreciate it because we like you. I mean, they didn't say that I couldn't say anything. They said, we can't tell you what to put on your channel. But we appreciate your journalistic integrity, that you tell people the truth and what happens. But if you have any problems with our stuff, we would appreciate it if you would reach out to us, tell us what the problems are, so you know we can either be on top of it or get the problem fixed, and then you can report about that. And I'm like, you know what? Absolutely fair. You know, once again, I'm not on their payroll, and I review my guns and other people's guns that they're just privately owned guns, okay? So, and because I like B&T so much, I have essentially agreed to that arrangement. And I said, I'm still going to tell people I had this issue, but hey, you guys fixed the issue. And so I had a major issue with this gun, okay? And we're going to talk about what that issue is, okay? In fact, the reason I'm making the video tonight is I need to get this back to the owner, D, because he has to figure out what he wants to do with it. I think he's taking it to a gunsmith to have it looked at. But, so anyway, I reached out to them after having issues with this gun. I reached out to I said, I'll say it's a liaison, okay? He appears to be a nice guy. I have no issues with him personally. Never met him personally. Seems great, okay? And I said, hey, actually, I wrote him an email, and I even made them a video, a private video. I said, hey, here's the problem with this gun. I promised that I would let you know about this issue or any issues I have with your guns before I say anything on either channel. What do I do? Is this a common problem? Is it not a problem at all? How do I fix it? You tell me. I would really appreciate it to get this information. I sent them the video email. I believe they saw it because I can see the number of people that look at the video. I can't see who looks at the video, but it's a unlisted video on a channel that I use just for like my Patreon videos. And I saw that people saw the video, okay? I also sent it to D, the owner of this gun. But it had more than like, you know, the number that just D and myself would have watched it. So I assumed they saw it. And I didn't hear anything back. I waited 24 hours and then 48 hours. And then I emailed. I said, hey, I'm sorry. I not emailed. I called. I called the number that I have. I think it's his personal cell phone number. Maybe it's his business cell phone number. It's one or the other. And I said, hey, I just want to follow up. I'm a man of my word. I had an issue with this gun. I sent you a video. I sent you the email. Let me know. Just get back. I can only imagine how busy you are. You can text, email, or call. Let me know. So I've waited another couple of days for this, and I still have not heard back. So I feel like I can now say this. I've given them the heads up. So if this is somebody, if you're somebody from B&T watching this video, number one, no, I still love your company. I don't hate anybody. I'm not biased against your company any way, shape, or form. In fact, I'm biased for your company. And number three, I did my best to reach out to the people that asked me to reach out to them. I have not heard back. I have an email to them, a video that I made for them, and I called them twice. I called them 2 days ago after waiting 2 days after making the video, and I called them today. No response, no answers, no texts, okay? So I have done everything and been a man of my word, okay? So let's talk about what happened with the APC300, okay? Now, this obviously is what I think is B&T's kind of top-of-the-line subgun based off of the kind of the APC9. And it's obviously an SD version, which means it has it's integrally suppressed, okay? So I mentioned in some videos in the past that I had an issue with trying to adjust this gas block and figuring out, okay, so I want to run this with supers and subs. So obviously I need to adjust the gas block. I'm even trying to change the gas block setting right now, and I can't do it. I'm on the lever. It won't budge. Like either way. Anyway, maybe it's my fingers are too fat, but I think that detent is a little bit too stiff. But that's not the problem because it's easy to adjust. And all I would have to do is simply take off the suppressor, just unscrew it. You can unscrew these with no issue whatsoever, or supposed to be, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. And then I would just take like a little pair of like long needle nose pliers, reach it, and I can easily adjust it that way. And that wasn't really a big deal to me at all. So I went to the range, and I did, because I wanted to get the right gas settings, because I knew I'd have to change them. So I put it on the second gas setting, and I shot supersonic ammo through it. No issues whatsoever, ran like a top. So then I took the suppressor off, and I adjusted the setting to where it was the most, I guess I'll say the most open, and then I ran some subsonic ammo through it, 5 rounds, just to make sure it worked. And I would say 4 of the rounds worked fine. The 5th one, it short-stroked. But I was like, okay, that's good data to have. Maybe I should expect it. Maybe it just needs to kind of run a little bit more, but I think we're going to be able to get the gun to run just fine for the range report. So I set up the target, first magazine, supersonic, okay? Because I decided that my first set of videos were going to be, sorry for my hiccuping tonight. I just had to scarf down some dinner because, as I told you, I've had a busy day and I got to get out of here in a little bit. So I was going to run a magazine of supersonic through it and then a magazine of subsonic through it just to make sure it worked, but also show the difference with this gun suppressed and kind of hopefully pick up on the sound, see if anything changes like the ejection pattern, how it grouped, whatever, okay? That kind of stuff. Just a good comparison video because I'm not going to run this unsuppressed because it's designed to have the suppressor. So I run the first magazine of supersonic ammo through it. Runs great. And then I noticed that the suppressor was a little bit loose, okay? And I remember I tightened it down pretty good. I mean, hand tight, you know, just on there, just to kind of hand tight. And it was a little bit loose. And sometimes suppressors back themselves off. Not a big deal. Nothing concerned me. But I then tried to screw it down. In fact, let's just say it was a little bit loose, just like it is right here. Here's what happened. So I'm like, okay, let me tighten this suppressor down. Okay, so it's going to keep going, and it's going, and now it looks like it's backing out, but I'm tightening it up. And then I keep unscrewing and unscrewing, and then I realize the suppressor came off. Okay, well, I was tightening it down. Well, is it threaded wrong? Well, what I figured out is that there is a little piece that I believe is supposed to be fixed in the suppressor, and I guess it's kind of the threaded portion. In fact, right now you can see it's on the barrel right here. And it's obviously reverse threaded. It's probably that way for a reason. So that means instead of it being righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, it's righty-loosey, righty-tighty. So I can't get it off with my fingers here. It's on there. The only way that I can get it back into the suppressor is if I put the suppressor back on it, and then if I essentially go lefty-loosey, like I was unscrewing the suppressor, it tightens onto that piece. Now it's on that piece, and I can still move the suppressor, and now as I unscrew it normally, it comes off. That piece is now inside the suppressor, and is no longer on the barrel. So, I think that this is a piece that is supposed to be internally permanent in the suppressor, or at least fixed pretty strongly and securely. And it looks like it has a, kind of what it looks like, maybe it has like something kind of like a shotgun, kind of a choke wrench is what it should be going on it. And I'm going to assume that piece typically would be locked down on there really tight or with some type of thread locker. Now, it doesn't look like there's any thread locker on it, and kind of looking like it has a special wrench to it. I wonder if I have a shotgun choke wrench out here that might reach down in there. Maybe that's what it is. Okay, here's one for I guess it's a Mossberg? What is this? Yeah, maybe it's a Mossberg. Will that fit in there? No, it won't. But I'm 100% sure there's some tool that goes in this, and maybe it's supposed to be tightened down, but it's not. And I'm assuming there's supposed to be some type of kind of a lock in there or a thread locker or something. So there's no baffle strikes. I've looked through this. The suppressor ran fine. There's no issues with the gun, no damage to it. There's no damage as far as I can tell to the suppressor. It's just that this I don't think is supposed to come off. And some people might say, hey, you shouldn't screw that suppressor on or off too much, but I've shot MP5 SDs. You can take those suppressors off no problem for cleaning. They just unscrew. It's not like it's a big deal. So I am a little bit disappointed in this because I've never had a problem with the B&T suppressor before. So I don't know what the solution is. I don't know what the tool is. I don't know if it's supposed to be thread locked on there. I don't know. And I've contacted the company. And as I said, I was a man of my word that I let them know before I posted any information on it. But this might, I hope it doesn't hurt my relationship with them, but I have to be honest with you guys as my viewers because I will always do that. So the plan for this gun right now is I was unable to review it because obviously after the first magazine, having this issue, I couldn't review it. Okay, and I'm not going to shoot it unsuppressed because that'd be stupid, because it's not designed to be that way. So I'm going to return this to D, and he's going to take it to a gunsmith and see what they think and what they can do, because B&T is not replying to my emails or my texts. So I'm a little bit disappointed in B&T. As I said, I reached out. I did my very best. I was hoping I would get some type of reply, even if that reply is, hey, I'm out of town. Let me just get back to you. I'll forward this to somebody that knows, and like the, what is it, the techs, the people that work on the guns, and they'll reach out. That would have been fine. But I got nothing, so I do not feel guilty releasing bad information, or not bad information, bad news about my experience with B&T. And after my experience with the B&T APR 8.6, I kind of feel like, and I'm saying this kind of in jest, okay, but I don't really mean this, but in some ways I kind of feel like B&T needs to hire me as an official product tester, because if anybody can break a B&T, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault. And it's not even that I take these guns and I torture test them or do anything to them that's like really rough. I just go to the range and shoot them normally, because, I mean, this is not my gun. And I'm going to treat it with respect. And I'm going to treat it honestly kind of light. In fact, one of the criticisms about many of my videos is I don't shoot the guns hard enough. People think they're not really put through their paces. And that's, I can see that, but I have to respect other people's property. People don't want to lend me a gun and then have me run it, into the ground. So I'm pretty light and delicate with these guns. And if I can break these guns without even trying, just by unscrewing a suppressor, if B&T has a problem with one of their guns, they need to let me shoot it, and I'll tell you what the problem is, because inevitably I'll find the problem and they can fix it, because I can break B&Ts like nobody's business, and I'm not even trying. So anyway, that's the story on that, my first impressions. In no way am I saying that the B&T stuff is junk, okay? Because I love B&T. I own a bunch of B&T that I bought with my own hard-earned money. But this one is just, see, there we go. I over-tightened it. It has to go just on where it goes on to the yeah, right there. Anyway, so that's the problem I had with this. So has anyone else had this issue before? And what do you guys think about my experiences with B&T? Man, I'm disappointed in that. Yeah, I can't tell. It's I guess comes off this way. No, that tightens that piece on. I don't know. Anyway, I'm frustrated. So I wanted to share this with you before I return this to its owner. And I want to give Dee a huge shout out and thank you for, once again, because this obviously is an NFA item, for filling out the paperwork and doing the trust documents and all that, so I could borrow it, essentially. So thank you, Dee. I do appreciate that, and I'm sorry for breaking another one of your B&T guns. So while I have you here for a moment, I want to transition now to talk about what I think the impact of this last week's election is going to be on gun owners and the gun community. Now, I want to say, I know some of you guys were pissed off with me because I was unregistered to vote, because I was very disappointed in the Republicans, and I don't believe that our system is safe, essentially. I don't believe I still think, even though Donald Trump won, we still have a lot of election integrity things to work on. But I feel the reason that it turned out the way it did is because the people that are on the other side of the aisle, they couldn't play the same game twice. They couldn't run the scam 2 times in a row. I was telling my wife, I said, I look at it as, you're walking down the street and somebody begs for money and you give them $5 or $10 to go get a hamburger. And then 20 minutes later, you see them taking that money to go buy cigarettes. Well, the next day when they're there, oh, please, I'm so hungry, I just need to go buy a hamburger. You already know they're scamming you, so you're already on the lookout for it, essentially. They can only run the scam one time. And once they do that scam the one time to you, it's over. I feel like the opponents, the people that would have rigged the election or done things underhandedly, realized there's too many people watching now. We've ruined it. They kind of ruined their chances by, they had that one election, they did it, now they have to come up with something different. So that's why I think the election went the way it did, because they couldn't cheat, because there were too many eyes on it. But let's talk about how it's going to impact us. Obviously, Donald Trump is going to be much better for us than Kamala Harris in the gun world. I think from a freedom of speech aspect, I really feel like YouTube is not going to be as censorious as they might have been, because they know if they begin to censor things that are, whether that be political speech or firearms rights, things that are legal as long as it's done in a responsible way. I mean, I totally get them taking down things where it shows people mishandling guns or doing dangerous things or violence. I totally get that. But if it's just people reviewing guns, talking about guns, handling guns in a safe environment, and they start to censor, I really feel like with a Donald Trump administration, they're going to have essentially the power of government come down on them. Even if it's from the Republican-held Congress, it looks like we got the House and the Senate. I don't think you're going to see any of that now for at least the next 2 years, depending on what happens in Congress then. But I think for the short term, you're going to see these social media platforms not censor as much. When it comes to the ATF, I think you're going to see between now and when Donald Trump is sworn in, I think you're going to see the ATF try to do some Hail Mary passes. Meaning, I think they're going to try to change some rules, enforce some things. Meaning like they're going to try to like get some stuff done through the courts, or they're going to put a rule in place or propose a rule that they know they would not be able to do under Donald Trump, and maybe try to get that in. But I think with all the cases that are currently against the ATF when it comes to rulings like against the FRTs, against the frames of receivers, I don't think you're really going to see much out of them. And I think once Donald Trump is elected, whoever his attorney general is going to be the most important pick when it comes to us, because, of course, the ATF is under the Department of Justice. And I'm really curious what's going to happen with the current director of the ATF. What's his name? Diedelbach, I think. I'm curious if he has to resign on day one, or could he just stay there until he's forced to resign? I have no idea. But I think that Donald Trump is not going to allow people in the, let's say, the moderate Republicans or the Democrats, where he wants to try to get along, to play along, be nice to them. I really feel like he's going to have a really good attorney general, whoever that would be. And I really feel like they're going to tell the ATF, you got to stop this. I really feel like they're going to put the kibosh on that. It might take 5 or 6 months for it all to go away, because I think they're going to say, well, we're just following orders from what we were told before, and nothing officially has come down. And I also don't think the ATF is going to be on the top of the list for Donald Trump at the moment. Like when he gets sworn in, it's not like on day one he's going to, sign executive orders or nominate an ATF director. I think that's going to come a month or two in. And hopefully the people that are surrounding him, like his sons, Eric and Don Jr., will do something. Enough people will say, okay, you've had all this other time. It's time for you to deal with what's going on in the gun community, the ATF, these rulings. We need to, stop fighting these cases in court. We need to change these rules and that kind of stuff. So I would have to say the biggest impact for us is going to be 4 or 5 months in when it comes to the rulemaking, the executive order kind of stuff. So probably by next summer. But here is my dire prediction, okay? And I've mentioned this in the past, that I know that the mass tragedy, casualty events that we see from time to time always appear to be lone wolf people. I've mentioned that just from a observer standpoint, it's always really interesting how these events happen days or hours before big things happen in the pro-gun industry. Just like, for example, when the Hearing Protection Act was going to be voted on in the House of Representatives, we had that one Bernie Sanders supporter take an SKS and attack the congressional baseball team. And of course, that put the kibosh on the Hearing Protection Act. Or anytime there's a nomination up of someone that's something like that happens. And so I'm not saying it's controlled by, I'm sorry for my dog barking. She hears that I'm out here talking and going to go crazy. So you're going to have to put up with that because the video is too far in. But I wouldn't be surprised if you see some type of like mass casualty event in the first year, because they're going to if somebody can't control it, they're going to try to play his hand and be like, okay, it's time for you to do executive orders, or this is about to pass. We can't let that happen. And magically it happens. And I'm sorry, maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist on that one. But it always seems like the timing of those is so specific to get the gun issue in the public's eye right when they're trying to pass something that's pro-gun or do something that's pro-gun. But that's my dire prediction. Hopefully I'm wrong on that one. Hopefully I'm completely wrong on that one. But I think my one, when it comes to the bureaucracy, the rulemaking, and that's going to be true. Give them 4 or 5 months. We're not going to see much change in the world of the gun world or ATF enforcement or rulemaking for about 6 months in. So there you go. That's what I think the election means for us as gun owners. But I think in general, we're safe from any major legislation being passed for the next 4 years. And once again, I'm sorry about my dog. I'm going to go out there and yell at her. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And if you watch to the end of this video, I think you know what the word of the day is going to be. It's going to be Trump. Trump, who won. I can't believe it. That's the word of the day, Trump. So now let me know what you think in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching.